Peripatetic, all one word, P-E-R-I, patetic, stands for traveling around from place to place. So if you, for instance, are a videographer and you need to travel for your work, you are a peripatetic worker. I'm Kathy Claybaugh, and I am Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. I think I saw it somewhere and I go, yeah, I need that. I used to be the wired librarian because I love computer stuff. Then I was the retired wired librarian. And then when I sort of shed that persona, I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna be Wonder Woman. I had a retirement party when I retired from North Junior High. And at my retirement party, people just kept asking me, what are you gonna do when you're retired? And I just said, you know, I wish I had a little motorhome that I could just travel in myself. And at that party, a friend of ours said, you know what, my brother-in-law has the tiniest little motorhome you ever saw. And guess what? I owned it a week later. So I would take PJ on a 3 or 4 day trip down to Grand Canyon, and then I'd join a group and do my hiking thing, and then I'd wander back home. I may have inherited some wanderlust from my dad. Near the end of his career as a highway engineer, went to work for USAID. My mom and I went with him, and we lived in Nepal, Iran, and Brazil during the years that I was in junior high and high school. So that takes you out of your comfort zone and gives you kind of a desire to go do adventurous things. PJ stands for Perry Jr. And there was an early Perry, which was an Alaskan camper that my dad bought when he retired. It's been a much beloved family vehicle. It's gone down through the generations. On the back of his camper, he wrote Perry, P-E-R-R-Y, patetic. People would come up to him and say, oh, Mr. Patetic, nice to meet you. And he'd just kind of go, hey, you know, because they didn't get the joke. I kept a ring binder with all of the documentation for every appliance, everything about the van, the vehicle itself, all the improvements I made. Because I'm a librarian, I think it might be in alphabetical order, I don't know. I made it in part for the fact that I figured somebody would own PJ after me and really need all of that information as well. So one of my favorite PJ stories is when I got profiled in Utah. I was driving south and I spent the night in some friend's driveway in a very conservative community north of Salt Lake, where they look apparently skeptically at vehicles that might be a little disreputable looking. I think people always expected somebody maybe large and hairy and male to step out of it. So anyway, I left this town early in the morning to get down through Salt Lake, and just as I pulled on the freeway, I got pulled over. And the cop comes up to the car window, and when he sees me, he kind of goes, oh, well, I thought maybe you were weaving a little bit, ma'am. I love what I call Red Rock Country, and I particularly love Grand Canyon. And I love to hike into Grand Canyon, and I've actually done that like maybe every year for the last 10 years. When I'm in Grand Canyon, I have this feeling that everything is bigger than I am, which is kind of a really good feeling because it's a great big world out there. So if I were advising somebody how to get out of their rut of doing the thing that maybe they're a little bit afraid to do, you have to just take little steps to do it. Take a little trip, kind of figure out your logistics, like how could I actually make that happen? When people asked me what I was going to do when I retired, I was like, everything else, okay? Because your job becomes your whole world, but it's not the whole world.